Thank you so much for joining me today for this yoga practice with a member of breastfriends organization, a wonderful support group located in Tigard, Oregon. Their website is linked in the description box below. So if you or anyone you know could benefit from their support, I encourage you to reach out to them directly. Today, we are going to be practicing on our yoga mats, and we are going to be dealing with our low backs today. A lot of us sit at desks or cars or sit a lot in our Western culture, and we tend to get some compression in the spine. I'm over 50, and so I also have bone density issues and arthritis. So we're not going to be doing any handstands or anything funky in this class here today. We're going to be supporting our core, not just those six-pack abs, but also the low back and the hips, finding strength and spaciousness for a little bit of ease in that low back today. So we'll start off by just taking a couple of cleansing breaths here, just an inhale through the nose. And exhale out the mouth with a nice big audible sigh. And just allow your breath to be your center, your anchor for just a moment here. Maybe closing your eyes or softening your gaze. Without changing your breath or doing anything with it, just notice where you feel it. Just to redirect all your attention from whatever's going on outside of yourself to your breath. You might feel the rise and fall of your chest. You might feel the expansion and the softening of your belly. You might find that inflow and outflow at the end of your nose. Just allowing your breath to carry you into your body. And then let's go a little bit deeper with the breath. We're going to take 2 inhales through the nose, and then we'll exhale out the mouth with a sigh. And then we'll take 2 more inhales through the nose, and we'll exhale with a humming sound. So it'll look like we'll elongate that, or you might have a shorter breath. So just honor whatever is real for you. We'll do 3 rounds all together of that. And you might like to pause in between rounds to take just a couple natural breaths or 2. So here we go. We'll take a full in and out breath to prepare. And then 2 deep inhales through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. 2 more inhales through the nose. Sip, sip. Exhale with a hum. And then pausing here for a natural breath or 2. And then we'll do a second round of that. So when you're ready, in your own timing. Full regular breaths here. And then when you're ready, one last round. Coming back to natural breath. Notice what you notice. Notice yourself centered, supported, feeling grounded through your sit bones, and your legs and your feet. And then if you're sitting cross-legged like I am, switch the cross of your legs. You don't have to sit cross-legged. That's technically not a traditional yoga pose. It's just kind of where we ended up here. Just finding balance throughout the hips. So let's begin to just warm up the spine. So we'll start at the top here. So we'll just start with some circles in the neck. And you can just kind of think about turning your nose in circles, bringing your chin down towards your heart and up towards the sky. And then we'll reverse those circles. And when you feel even in both directions, we'll inhale to look up. Exhale to look down. So we're keeping the spine long, the shoulders lifted. We're just moving through the neck here. One more time. And then we'll inhale back to the top of the spine and we'll begin to link the movement of the breath. So let's inhale to reach the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale to lower them back and down. Inhale to roll up. Exhale back and down. And we'll just keep moving here in the shoulders. And you might like to keep your hands grounded to your body, or you might begin to lift your arms up, maybe making some arm circles here. Sort of squeezing your shoulder blades together as you draw your shoulders back and down. And then we'll reground those hands here and we'll get a little more into the mid back. So inhale, just a little arch of the spine, little lift of the heart. Exhale, draw the belly button back and up towards your heart as you round the spine. Inhale, cow pose, little arch of the spine, look up towards the sky. Exhale, cat pose, rounding inward, letting the head hang heavy, stretching across the top of the shoulders. Inhale back to that nice tall spine, and then we'll take the hands to the heart. We're going to do a little bit of twisting here. We want to keep the hips right where they are. So the twist happens here in the rib cage. So we'll inhale right here and then just twist to look towards your right. Inhale back to center and exhale to twist to the left. And we kind of want to keep the chin over the fingers here so that the upper torso is moving as one unit. One more time to each side. And then we'll come back to center. And then let's go ahead and come on over into tabletop and we'll get into those hips a little bit. I'm sitting on a yoga block here, but you can always sit on a pillow or a blanket. If you have yoga blocks handy, you can use them here. I'm not going to, just because a lot of people don't have them at home. If this is hard on your wrists, you can use those blocks, or you can come down to your forearms, or you can make fists for wrists here. And we're just going to get a little bit more cat and cow here, but we're going to focus on the hips and the lower body. So we'll inhale to lift the tailbone, draw the heart forward, and exhale to tuck the tailbone. Now just move to your healthy boundary here. We don't want to overdo it. If you have any kind of arthritis in the low back or spinal stenosis, you probably don't want to lift that tailbone too terribly far. Move with your breath. Inhale as you drop the belly. Exhale as you round the spine. And then let's come back to a nice flat tabletop. Walk one hand and then the other out as far as you're able to, and just bring your heart down towards the ground. You might bring your forehead to touch. You might let your forehead hover. Just think about breathing your breath, opening up those armpits and drawing your sit bones back towards the wall behind you. Imagine yourself, visualize your spine, extending, elongating, and creating some space. And you might even give your hips a little wiggle, wiggle to encourage that spaciousness. Couple more breaths right here. This is Anahata Asana, heart melting pose. And then let's lift back up, bring those elbows down to the ground. We're going to step one foot and then the other back for a forearm plank. Now you can lower the body down to the mat to take a break whenever you feel that it is necessary for you. But as you're in your forearm plank, we're going to press into those elbows, lift the ears away from the shoulders, and press the heels back. And here we're really going to focus on those exhales, drawing the belly button up towards the spine and towards the heart. One more breath here. And then let's exhale, bring one knee and then the other back under the hips. And we'll come back up into our tabletop posture. Then we're going to send those right toes straight back. Now, if you want to keep your toes on the ground here and just stay right here, stretching the back of that right leg, you can surely do that. But if you're ready to bring it parallel to the ground, we're just going to bend that right knee and make some circles here in that right hip in one direction. And then the other. And then we're going to do a couple things to help strengthen those hips. So with that right knee bent, we're just going to pulse the bottom of the foot up towards the sky. And here, each time you press and pulse, think about drawing that belly button up and in to support your spine. Just 5 more here. And then we'll release that right knee down. And then we'll do the same thing with the left leg. So again, if you're here just to stretch out that back of that left leg, you can keep those toes down. Otherwise, you can bring that left leg parallel to the ground. Keep the toes pointing downward. We'll bend the left knee, make some circles in one direction, 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how fast you're moving. And then the other. And with that left knee bent, bottom of the foot pulses up towards the sky. We'll exhale out the nose, lifting that belly button up and in. 5 more times. And then we'll release that left knee down and just take the hips back towards the heels any amount, just releasing any tension here in that low back. Couple breaths right here. And then we'll inhale back to that tabletop. We're going to do kind of that traditional fire hydrant shape. So again, we'll start with the left or with the right side. Nice long spine here, nice stable spine. So almost as if you have a cup of water on your spine that you don't want to spill. We just want to move through the hip. So we'll pick up that right knee and reach it straight out to the sky. Keeping that right knee bent, thinking about that outer right hip and the outer right thigh. And again, as you breathe here, you're going to kind of want to lift that belly button up and in towards the spine. Let's just do 3 more of these on this side. And then we'll just switch sides. So picking up that left knee, inhale to bring it out, exhale to bring it in. And each time you exhale, bringing that left knee in, belly button up and in towards the spine. And as you practice here, keep the muscles of your face soft. Keep lifting your ears away from your shoulders. Just a couple more on this side. I might have lost count. And then we'll release, and again, release tension in the low back by taking the hips back towards child's pose. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring those forearms down to the ground again. Step one foot and then the other back and come into your forearm plank. Press into those elbows, press the heels back towards the wall behind you. Honor yourself taking breaks whenever you need to. Couple more breaths right here. And then we'll release the knees back down to the ground. Come back up into our tabletop, and let's give those wrists a little break here. We'll just come to sit on our heels or in cross-legged pose and just roll out your wrists, wiggle your fingers, shake it out a little bit. And then we'll come back to our tabletop once again. There's a lot we can do here. This time we're going to extend that right leg out long. Now we're just going to stay here and breathe. Now you can keep this both arms on the ground here, or if it's comfortable for you or not too terribly challenging, you might extend that left arm. So left arm's extended, thumb up, right leg's extended, toes down. And we're just going to use the breath here, inhaling to lengthen the body and exhaling to draw that belly button up and in. Three more breaths here. One more inhale. Exhale to release. Take yourself back to hero's pose, back to your heels. Release any tension, especially in that right wrist if you were extending the left arm. And then we do have to do the other side. So let's come on back to our tabletop. Again, you can always use your fists here for wrists. We'll extend the left leg. Maybe this is as far as you want to go. You can breathe your breath right here. You can always bring that left leg back down for a break if you need to. And then we'll reach that right arm forward. And then we're just going to breathe here. And remember, taking breaks is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of self-care. It is a sign of honoring our bodies, giving them what they need, not pushing beyond our own healthy boundaries. Just a couple more breaths here. One more inhale. Exhale to release. Once again, let's release any tension in those wrists. And then this time we're going to walk those hands forward, tuck the toes under, send the hips back towards the heels, And with an inhale, we're going to lift those hips up to downward facing dog. Now, pedaling your dog out is a wonderful thing to do here to stretch out the calves and the hamstrings. They get really tight and can cause tension on our low backs. When we do sit a lot, our bodies are super adaptable. So when we sit a lot, our hamstrings help us out by shortening up so that it's easier to sit, which makes it harder to stand. So let's go ahead and bend both of those knees nice and generously and send your hips back towards the wall behind you. Release your head, let it hang heavy. Just think about drawing your heart back towards your knees. And imagine that someone who has your permission has their hands on your hips and they're pulling you back towards that wall behind you. So you're getting nice and long across the spine. A couple more breaths right here. And then we'll inhale forward, bring those knees down towards the ground, but here we're not going to touch them down, we're going to hover. Hovering table here. And again, you can always take a break. You can switch up fist for wrists, come down to your forearms, couple more breaths wherever you are. One more inhale, and we'll exhale to release. This time, let's walk it back to high kneeling. Shake out any tension in your arms or shoulders. And then we're going to just step that right foot forward and come into a lunge. So if your low back is really tight, really sore, you're going to want to keep your lunge pretty square here. If you want to go deeper, so you have more of a stretch in that left front of your thigh, the left hip, the quad, you can scooch that front foot forward, but make sure you're honoring your back and not coming too far forward. Now you might like to stay here. You might like to bring your hands down alongside that right foot. You could walk your hands up to the top of that right thigh. You could bring your hands to your heart. And that back toe, those toes can be tucked or untucked. And again, we're going to keep these hips nice and stable. Inhale right here. Exhale to twist any amount to your right. Inhale back to center and exhale to twist to the left. We'll do twice more to each side, really pressing into the sole of the right foot and the top of the left foot, drawing those thighs kind of towards one another because we're using all of those muscles, building strength and stability. We'll inhale back to center after the last time to the left. And then we'll bring those fingers down to the ground, scooch that front foot forward as much as it feels good to you, and flip those toes up to the sky to get a nice stretch in the back of that thigh. You can keep as much of a bend in that right knee as you feel is comfortable for you. We want to feel the stretch here in the back of the right leg and maybe a bit in the low back, but certainly we don't want any numbness or pain. If you feel either one of those, back out of the posture. Couple more breaths here. Nice long spine as you inhale. Heart towards your knee as you exhale. Use your next inhale to lift back up. Bring that right foot back under the knee, and then we'll just switch sides. So we'll step the left foot forward. And again, you can come as far forward with that left leg as you like. You can stay with hands on the ground or hands on your thigh. Think about pressing firmly into both legs, kind of drawing those thighs towards one another and towards the center of the mat. And if you like, you can bring your hands to your heart. Inhale right here. Exhale, little twist through the ribs to the left. Inhale back to center and exhale to twist to the right. Twice more to each side. Next time to the right's the last time. We'll go ahead and bring those hands down alongside the left foot, and you can either send the hips back or scooch the front foot forward, flip those toes up, inhale your heart forward, exhale down towards that left knee as much as it feels good to you. Breathe here. When you're ready to come out, walk yourself back up to your lunge. And then we'll go ahead and turn it around to come to a seat. Any way you want to get there, nothing fancy. We're going to come into Navasana, boat pose. So our feet are on the mat, sitting on our sit bones, knees pointing to the sky. You can have your hands around your shins or the backs of your thighs. And we're just going to take it back partway or halfway here. And we're really going to engage the core here. So inhale through the nose, exhale also through the nose, drawing that belly button up and in. Now you could stay here with your hands resting to your legs to help stabilize you, or you might lift your palms up to the sky. You might lift one leg and then the other. You might lift both legs. You could keep your knees bent or send them out straight. Just go to wherever you want to go. Find a place where it's stable and sustainable, but also challenging. So finding that happy balance between effort and ease. One more full breath wherever you are. And then we'll bring the feet back down and we'll slowly roll down one vertebra at a time. Once you get to the ground, hug one knee and then the other in towards your heart. Rock a little bit from side to side. Massage out that low back. And then we'll bring the left foot down. Maybe you keep that left leg bent. Maybe you straighten it out nice and long and just hug that right knee in towards your heart. Breathe here nice and soft. Relax your shoulders. Relax the muscles of your face. And with that left knee either bent or straight, we're going to straighten the right leg as much as you're able. Maybe just reaching that right foot up to the sky. Maybe bringing your hands around the back of the right thigh to hug it in. Again, getting into those hamstrings from a different angle here. Softening the jaw, breathing your breath. One more inhale. Exhale to rebend that left knee if it's straight. And then we're just going to cross that right leg over the left leg to get into the outer right hip. This might be enough for you right here, or you might like to hug those knees up towards your heart, getting a little deeper into that right hip. You can bring your hands around your right knee or your left knee. If you have arms that are longer than mine, maybe you can do the left knee. Breathe a couple rounds of breath right here. One more inhale. Exhale to unwind. Bring the feet back down to the ground. Notice what you notice for a breath or so. And then we'll draw the left knee in. If you're interlacing your fingers around your shin or your thigh, you might like to switch up your clasp. Take the wonky side, so just switching one over so your non-dominant thumb is on top. Maybe stretch that right leg out long. Couple more breaths here. Maybe extend the left leg, drawing it in. And that leg can be bent or straight. Just make sure you're not locking your knees. And if that right leg is straight, rebend that right knee, cross the left leg over the right leg, hang out right here and breathe, or draw those legs in towards your heart. Again, if you're interlacing fingers, switch up your clasp. It's just a really small way that we kind of break free of our habitual patterns, what we call samskaras in yoga. These are neural pathways that get built when we learn new things. So they can be very beneficial, like driving a car or tying our shoes. But sometimes we make these neural pathways that are not super beneficial. So when we change up something really simple, like just how we clasp our hands, it's a little notification to our neurons that we can do new things. We don't always have to be stuck doing the same old thing. One more inhale here. And then we'll exhale to release. Draw both knees in towards your heart. You might invite your nose up to your knees. Couple more breaths wherever you are. And then let's bring one foot and then the other back down towards the ground. Take your feet out as wide as your mat. Let your hands rest to your body or flip your palms up to the sky and let those knees gently knock inward for constructive rest pose. Relax the muscles of your face and just bring your attention, your awareness once again back to your breath. Not changing anything, you're just being with the breath. Relax the muscles of your face and let your belly be soft now. We'll just be here for one more minute, allowing the efforts of your practice to integrate with your neural pathways, with your breath, with your heart. Now, if your time allows for you to stay here, please stay. But if you have other things to get to with the rest of your day, any way you want to get there, we're going to come up to a tall seat. Be gentle with yourself. Press yourself up to whatever seat suits you best. Maybe coming to sit on a block or a bolster or a pillow. Finding some balance through your sit bones and noticing again the places where you're supported here. Let's just bring the hands together at the heart. There's a lot going on in our world today. And one of the mantras that I recite every single day is the Shanti mantra. And Shanti means peace in Sanskrit. And the words of the mantra are Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. And they mean, may all beings everywhere be happy and free. And may our own thoughts, words, deeds, and actions contribute to that in some way. So that is my prayer for all of us today. And if you'd like to join me in that, please bow your chin to your chest. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. And may our thoughts, our words, our deeds, and our actions contribute to that in some way. Namaste.